AM 980 The Mission. We are the Twin Cities Christian Voice. We are live here at the Minnesota State Fair, the corner of Underwood and Murphy. I hope you come out. It is a perfect day out here right now. Little breeze, not too hot, not too cold. Lots of food here, too, day one. And, well, we know that's what's all about the fair is getting here for the food. But also you come out here to the fair because you want to see all the new AM 980 The Mission merchandise. We've got brand new T-shirts and stuff out here for you to enjoy, as well as all the other neat stuff we have with live broadcasts on the way with Ridgeway coming up at 4 o'clock. Right now here on the broadcast deck, sitting outside, I have with me Shannon Potter. She's the Director of Senior Living Operations at Avinity Senior Living, and also Jennifer Zarth, who is the VPPP, which is the Vice President of Philanthropy and Programs. Did I get that right?
Nice job.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, it's been a pleasure. I've had an opportunity to chat with others from Avinity over the years here at the State Fair. And as my parents age and as I age, as you can tell by the gray hair that is coming in, it's never too early to talk about what our plans are for the future. And maybe I'll just start with you then, Shannon.
Sure.
How do you start that conversation with your parents or maybe with your spouse about what are we going to live? How are we going to live? What are we looking for as we grow older? Because oftentimes we can't stay in the same home that we are now.
Absolutely. That's right. And that's about what it is. It's starting that conversation with your mom or dad, and just being very honest with them. And these are the options that we have available. You really want to start that conversation early and instead of waiting for a crisis.
Right.
Unfortunately, most of the time what happens is we get calls saying there's been an accident. We need to move mom and dad right now. They want to be a part of the communities. There's so many more great amenities available, and building the community and feeling a part of the community and enriching their lives. So do it early, when they have time to enjoy the life.
Well, and that's the neat thing about Avinity, and I guess I'll direct this at you, Jennifer, the number of campuses you have, and I guess is campus the right word to use?
Sure.
Or,
you can say campus, or I like to say community.
Community, yeah, community is probably
Yeah.
even better. Because as you have that conversation and you grow, you've got so many different options. And think back, when I was young, I mean, you always thought, there was one option that you had. For senior care, and that was it.
That's right.
It is nothing like that now. And I tell you, if you haven't visited Avinity or seen what options are out there, because what sort of programs do you have available for people as they move into these communities?
We have a substantial amount of programs, and this year that is going to be growing. I just added to my title and my role as the VP of Philanthropy, VP of PP, which includes programs as well. So we are really going to be building our program structure and framework across all of our communities to really meet the needs of the whole person as they age. So that includes health and wellness and artful living, technology, and programs for our caregivers, memory care, kind of the whole gamut. So really to support the whole person, especially their spiritual care as well.
And that's a key component too, as we were just talking about the Christian education side of things as you're bringing your kids up. The Christian side, understanding God as we are aging and underweight, being in a comfortable situation like that. Avinity is really a place to allow that to flourish.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then how, when we look at this too, we're just talking about the programs and things that are available, because now where you have an opportunity, people move into these communities even at a younger age because they're kind of self-contained. They have their own apartment, almost townhome for lack of a better term,
right.
Your own kitchen, things like that. But how do you progress then through that? Because you've got new things adding all the time, and memory care is a big issue for a lot of people nowadays.
Absolutely, and we are really excited to introduce a new memory care neighborhood at Main Street Village of Richfield. Main Street Village is a 161-unit independent and assisted living property, and now we are going to be adding a small memory care neighborhood, so we're so excited about that. Also, what we're going to be doing is an aging in place program, which is one of our pillars of our strategic 5-year plan. And aging in place is really coming in very highly independent into a beautiful apartment, and then as your loved one is needing services, they can just add on services as needed, and they can stay right in their own home, no need to move. So
that is a really neat idea. I remember my grandmother many years ago had moved in and had kind of a little apartment. Didn't have she had meals in the dining room, but then had to transition from there at that point to full care side of but had to switch rooms, and it wasn't as homey, and it was but to be able to have that and have, I think it's a great opportunity for the family to feel comfortable, but also for the person who is there, especially with the memory care, because that has just seemed something that it was really wasn't dealt with in the past.
Right.
No,
the less transitions a person can go through, the more stable you'll see them and their well-being.
It's less emotionally disruptive, and as we see our baby boomers start to age, just a quick stat is that the prevalence of Alzheimer's is going to reach 25% by the year 2025.
So that those numbers start to be staggering. And anybody who has had a family member or seen what happens with Alzheimer's, or as you get into the dementia, it's taxing on the family. And to have an opportunity where they can still feel at home and to have that care, you must see it takes a burden off the family as well.
Absolutely. Right. It turns the caregiver who once was a family member turns into a caregiver and really burns out. So in order to get someone to, Avinity and enjoying the living and the spiritual care that we can offer, it then allows the family member to truly be a family member again.
Yeah, and if people want more information, AvinitySeniorLiving.org is the website. You can go check it out. Because where do you have your communities? You've got a number of communities now.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Our flagship community, as Shannon mentioned, is in Richfield. That's 161 unit. So that's independent living and assisted living, and now our new memory care neighborhood. We have a 60 unit in Eden Prairie, and that is for lower income. That's a HUD community. We have another HUD community up in Hibbing, and we have 2 more assisted or independent livings, one in Shoreview and one in Minnetonka. That is called Westridge.
Yeah, the one in Shoreview not too far from. I live in the Shoreview area, so I'm familiar with the Avinity.
That's a beautiful one.
Yep, Scandia Shores.
Yep, very nice. And I think that you bring up a neat point with the number of locations, because a lot of people, as they age, really want to stay in their community. Where they're from, it's easier for family that might be nearby, and so having that available for people to look at, being a big plus, I'm assuming.
Most of the time when I give a tour to someone coming in, they're unfamiliar possibly with the site, and then they come in and they say, oh my gosh, I have a lot of friends living here. So it's really fun to see that, and they build their community right there in the sites.
Yeah, it is needed. Again, AvinitySeniorLiving.org for more information. As people age, we talked a little bit about this on when you bring up that conversation, you're able to, you don't want it to be that awkward thing, well, here, I'm going to bring my mom and dad in and just show them these communities like we're forcing them out. It's a really welcoming environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because the programs that you have there cover all kinds of things that, you're not just stuck in a little rec room in the community.
Correct. Right. We really want to move beyond that and just the bingo and the shopping trips. So, we are really making the move to a more integrative, innovative, holistic program model that, for example, we have Live to Be Healthy, which is an evidence-based fitness program that our residents absolutely love. They've been doing yoga. We're bringing in the arts. We're bringing in more technology. And teaching them how to use technology from our digital natives, our students.
Very good. Well, we need to take a quick break. We're live here at the Minnesota State Fair, and we're in the corner of Underwood and Murphy. More with Avinity Senior Living. Again, you find more at AvinitySeniorLiving.org on the web. We'll be right back.
Yeah, just cut me off.
You wrestle with the sinner's restless heart.
AM 980 The Mission. We are the Twin Cities Christian Voice. Online at am980themission.com. You know, you can listen on your smartphone, your mobile device, your tablet device. If you're coming out here to the fair, walk around with us. You can download the app. We're on TuneIn and iHeartRadio as well. Plus, come by the fair, pick up our great new fair merchandise. We're out here every day, beginning at 9 a.m. till about 8 p.m. or so. Live broadcast every weekday at 3, and On the Way with Ridgeway coming up here at 4. I'm Lee Michaels, joined with Shannon Potter and Jennifer Zarth. They are with Avinity Senior Living. We've been talking about that. I mean, the transition to talk about our parents or even ourselves, when we're supposed to start thinking about what are we going to do long term. And when you look at what Avinity offers in the communities they have, from Hibbing to Eden Prairie, Shoreview, Richfield, you've added the memory care, which is wonderful. We talked about the numbers of people that will be in need of that as baby boomers continue to grow older. And we'll talk. I want to take a minute too, and we'll come up and talk about kind of the long-term vision of what Avinity has to offer, because you guys are always looking to the future, really being creative, making sure that the needs are met for people, because people are much more independent now, longer, but want to have that, but we also don't want to be moving around a lot as they get older. But the spiritual care is a key component to what Avinity does. So let's start with that. I guess I'll go to you first, Jennifer.
Yeah. The spiritual care is and has always been our roots of the Avinity and the Avinity experience for our residents, our employees, our families. You know, it really helps us fulfill our mission and really look towards our vision. So our spiritual care is a major cornerstone at every community, and we have chaplains at all of our communities that really walk with our residents in their spiritual lives, no matter what their affiliation is, but really walk with them through their faith journeys. We have weekly chapel services and Bible studies, and other churches sometimes come in. There are prayer groups, there's one-on-one counseling, and at a couple of our sites, and this is going to be growing, we also have pastoral nurses. So that's, registered RN with experience in the faith community as well.
And that's something, that is important. Those of us that are Christians, we understand that. Or, maybe there's people, parents who, we've seen that too, grew up in a Christian home, but maybe haven't been going to church as much. But when you get in that, and as you age, you start thinking about the issues of life and death. And to have a staff that is there to encourage and counsel and pray with you as the family member or as the resident has to be extremely encouraging and comforting to all.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I think that is one of the main things that draws prospective residents and families to Avinity and to that Avinity experience, is that they see that, and they see that nurturing, faithful spirit throughout all our communities.
And very, very important, because the family, what you're getting and who you're going to be. You're like-minded coming into a place like Avinity Senior Living.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Shannon.
And, I just wanted to talk about a little bit more about the actual Avinity experience, because you do feel it at every community you walk into. We really, with our employees, we empower and inspire our team. We encourage them to build a career at Avinity and what fits in their lives, and we encourage that. Our residents are happy and engaged. The residents' families, they choose us, because they support the Avinity experience. They see it and they feel it, which is really important. Of course, our corporate and ministry partners, they choose to do business with us because they feel that experience and see it as well. So it's a great, inspiring experience to be a part of.
All the way around. From when do people typically start looking at Avinity? And I think there's age requirements in
Correct.
A lot of the senior living, but it's you can start that process earlier than that.
Absolutely. Most of the time when I have someone come into one of my communities, unfortunately, it's usually been after the loss of a significant other. Mom is now on her own, doesn't want to have the big house anymore.
Right.
You can't modify homes as easy as, downsizing. You don't have to worry about maintenance. It's maintenance-free living. We bring as much possible to the residents. So having a partnership with a physician's group is really important, so they can see a physician right there in their own home, in an Avinity site. So bringing as much to them, so they don't have to go out as much. Transportation is no longer an issue. You don't have to worry about the snowbanks anymore. You don't have to worry if the hot water heater goes down. You don't have to worry about those things anymore. And us as children, we don't have to worry about mom being put in that situation.
It's a great point. Go ahead.
I would also add, just as resources, if you are on Facebook, you can check out Avinity. Right now, Avinity has, you can download a resource guide about, what are some good questions to ask when you're visiting a place like Avinity or other places. How do I talk to my parents about this? Just getting started.
That was my next kind of point again, is the education process, because for any of us, it's not an easy conversation to say, Mom, Dad, what are you going to do? Have you thought about what you're going to do when you get old? And you might feel a little uncomfortable in how to start that conversation.
Sure.
So if anything, I hope people take away today that have that conversation early. You've got enough stress if there is some life-changing event that happens, whether it's a medical or the death of a parent or whatever the situation is, the memory starts to go, whatever it is. If you have those conversations early, you actually can make that transition easier, and you have tools to help with that.
Absolutely. And, it doesn't mean that mom or dad has to move in tomorrow. Come and visit our sites. All of our sites, our administrators, our marketing team, we're all willing. We're here for a resource for you. Start answering questions, start gathering your questions. And unfortunately, then people say, I don't know what to ask. Well, just come out.
There's no dumb question.
Exactly. Yeah, right. And we will help you with that. We're not here meaning you have to move into our property immediately. It's, 2 years out. Let's start talking about it right now, and we are there as a resource and to help you and guide you through this process.
So they can come, they can tour the facility, they can attend a chapel, they can
come have lunch, come check out a class, and anything. We are welcoming. Our doors are open, and if family members want to come without mom and dad at first, and then bring, that's great.
A very comfortable place to be, and get that information.
With the amount of education that all of us have, we'll be honest, if we are not a perfect match for your mom and dad, we're still going to help you. We're still going to help you find the perfect place.
I think that's awesome. We're talking with Shannon Potter and Jennifer Zarth there with Avinity Senior Living. AvinitySeniorLiving.org is the website, and you can get more information on that. But again, I encourage you to start that process, start that conversation. It may seem a little strange at first, but that's it's better to do now when you actually have time to sit around and talk about it than do it when you're under the stress of something catastrophic that happens. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to get into a little bit kind of the future plans. Where's Avinity going next? What's happening with senior living in the future? So it's AM 980 The Mission. We are live at the Minnesota State Fair, the corner of Underwood and Murphy. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. AM 980 The Mission, the Twin Cities Christian Voice. I'm Lee Michaels. We are live at the Minnesota State Fair, corner of Underwood and Murphy. We are in the north end of the fairgrounds, right next to the big orange Home Depot barn. You can't miss us. It's a lot of fun out here. And a big thanks to Premium Waters Minneapolis for sponsoring this broadcast day as well. I'm with Jennifer Zarth and Shannon Potter there with Avinity Senior Living. They've got campuses, if I can remember it now, Eden Prairie, Richfield, Shoreview, Hibbing, and Minnetonka. I knew there was one more. Thank you. I had a little help.
Nice job.
But let's, we've talked a little bit about all that Avinity offers. It's a great thing. You were mentioning, Shannon, during the break that a lot of people, when they come in, they go, boy, I wish I would have done this 5 years earlier.
Absolutely.
And take advantage of all the great things that you have, because you don't realize that when you have all the maintenance-free side of things, the community, the friends, the people you meet, the programs that are going on, it's much more than just a little apartment or room that you are moving into. It really becomes a home for them.
That's right.
And you've planned ahead. You've added the memory care, and you've found and met the needs of things that change in people, as you've mentioned the technology and the things that change with that. But what are some of the long-term things that people will probably start seeing in Avinity that they may not be thinking about now?
Sure, absolutely. We are expanding throughout other sites the home care services. So we are introducing the enhanced home care services up at Scandia Shores as of September 1st. So we're excited about that. But we did recently have our board give the stamp of approval for our strategic 5-year plan, which is really exciting, and all the 4 different pillars that are involved with that. We have so many new opportunities coming about, and I guarantee you will be seeing some great strides and watching Avinity grow very quickly in the next couple of years.
Yeah, the 4, I'll just really quickly mention our focuses that will be on over the next several years. And the first one is really promoting a culture of caring and generosity throughout all of our communities, which really equates to the Avinity experience. It starts with our employees. So we really are an Avinity family. Also, our aging in place model. Again, we talked a little bit about that before, but that is just so critical.
Neat model.
So critical to not move mom and dad around, but really bring enhancing services to them. And more programming, lots of programming. And as well as we are growing, and we are building our organizational vitality and our sustainability, and part of that also includes our foundation as well.
And again, if people want more information, avinityseniorliving.org, and make that call. Come down, tour into the facilities, meet the staff. And again, I can't stress enough the spiritual care at Avinity, first and foremost. It is going to be a comfortable setting. It's going to be a nurturing and growing environment. Plus, it sounds like you got a lot of fun stuff going on there.
Absolutely.
There is a lot of fun.
It's not boring.
No, it's not. Definitely not.
We have fun.
Well, I think that's great. Is there anything else? I mean, that we've talked about the plan for the future, how to have that conversation. And again, I just hope it's an education for people that they pick up the phone and make that call, whether it's for yourself or your parents. Do so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, check out our website, and check us out on Facebook. Again, there's a resource guide there. Another resource is go to the Minnesota Board on Aging. They have a phone number that you can just call, and really that can help you start that process as well. But come and visit.
Absolutely.
And we're happy to talk to you.
Yeah, Avinity seniorliving.org is the website. Shannon, Jennifer, I thank you guys so much.
Thank
God bless you. I hope you
Thanks
enjoyed
for
the rest of the day at the
having
fair.
Thanks so
That's
much.
awesome. And thanks for you guys coming out today too.
Yeah.
we got the kids on the stage here too. Hey, stay tuned. On the Way with Ridgway is coming up next, live here at the Minnesota State Fair. We are in the corner of Underwood and Murphy. Come join us. I'll be here every weekday at the fair from 3 to 4. Paul on the air from 4 to 6. It's AM 980 The Mission. We are the Twin Cities Christian Voice. Thanks to Alyssa back at the station, Steve, our engineer here. 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Pray without ceasing. Have a great day. God bless, and God bless America.